So hello there and welcome to Boxing Media Hub, proudly in partnership with Falcon Contracting and Jam's Boxing Chat. We're here for episode 4 of the Boxing Media Hub Boxing Hour, featuring myself, Jam, and my main man from Cincinnati, Ohio, Mr. Serhan. How are you, big man? You good?
Oh, great. How about yourself over there across the Atlantic?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. Really looking forward to this show. So what we're going to do today, peoples, we're going to walk through like what happened at the weekend in the fights, but then we're going to get to mine and Serhan's favourite, and I mean favourite, so don't get it twisted, favourite top 10 fighters. Not the best, not pound for pound, not who we think the best boxers, just our favourites. So no offensive commentary from people in the comments. Just stick with
Please.
us. It's literally just our favourite, so who we enjoyed the most. So we'll be getting to that in just a little while. But what we're going to do for now, we've also got a special guest joining at 1:15. So in about 14 minutes' time, we're going to have a very special guest. He's a friend of mine. He's a top man. He's a mister. He's a sir. He will be joining me and Serhan on the Boxing Hour. Right, so we're going to start. I don't know if you've seen the card at the weekend, Serhan, the Queensbury card.
I saw highlights of it. I saw the final fight that ended with that knockout with that left hook where the guy just
Oh, it was a
was out
beauty.
on his cold. Yes. I
Big
saw
up Mr. Sam Walker for joining us, SW Fight Hub. Thank you so much for joining us, matey. Appreciate y'all. But yeah,
hey,
man,
real quick before I proceed about that kid. I was on a show the other day. I like him. Good stuff. I'm looking forward to being on with you again, Sam. Love you.
he's a great lad, mate. I've only just
Yes.
got in contact with him. He's a really good lad. I really like him. So
Yeah.
if you don't already subscribe to his YouTube channel, it's SW Fight Hub, and he's a real decent lad. And he's got real decent content. He's getting interviews. He's had the man like Serhan on, so you know he knows his stuff. So please
Got my
head over to his
recommendation.
channel and hit that subscribe button. But don't
Right.
forget to hit the subscribe button here first at Boxing Media Hub, of course.
Right. The,
You know that. Right, so we'll start from the Belfast card from Queensbury. We had J.D. Turner defeated his man Martinez over 4 rounds. It was very slick a performance. He'd done nothing wrong. A very good start to his career. There's not really much to say on
yes.
that one. So we'll move over to the takeover. Stephen Cairns. Now, this was a performance. He knocked out his man, Jonatas Oliveira, with a body shot in the first round, and it was fantastic. Like, I knew this
Yep.
Irish takeover was a good fighter, but my God, that punch was something special. Did you get to see Stephen Cairns?
I saw the highlight of the punch. Basically, the fight was basically the body shot to deliver the knockout. I mean, boom, right on the liver. Ouch.
It it was the perfect shot, wasn't it? It wasn't it was the
Yes,
perfect shot. Mr. Walker, Sammy said, appreciate the love, boys. Another showing coming. Good man. Just keep us posted, mate. And like I say,
exactly.
anyone who's not, head over to SW Fight Hub. Not to be confused with SWS fights, which is Sammy. So there's two Sams and two Fight Hubs, but we'll get you there.
Right.
Right. Next up was the pro debut of Joe Cooper. He won by 4 rounds, and it was a solid performance. But again, there's not much to say here. He just dominated the fight, and it was an easy win, as you'd expect on your debut. So just a little bit of a rollover. He done well. Did you get to see the Cuban Herrera, who made his debut for
Uh,
Queensborough?
I heard a lot of hubbub about him in his amateur days, and from what I heard and saw, he was absolutely stellar on his debut.
He was. He got a fantastic stoppage. It was a real good performance. It was a real good performance. But we'll move on to the bigger fights. Colm Murphy. Now, this was a fight. He dominated Jack Turner, and Jack Turner is nobody's mug. He's a real tough man, a tough man. And he stopped him in the 10th. This was a terrific, terrific performance. And I really enjoyed this. Did you actually get to see this one, Serhan, over in the
From,
States?
from what I've got a chance to see and understand, I really like what Murphy brought to the table. A very stern performance against a very durable opponent. You know, when you see a guy step up and do that, you want to see him. He's about ready to take the next step to go to that championship level. It's a real stirring
Yeah.
performance.
100%, mate. He looked good. He looked good. He looked really good. So next up, we're going to Pierce O'Leary. Now, he's making some noise, the Big Bang. Big Bang Pierce O'Leary. He absolutely dominated Dara Foley, who's a very, very tough and slick operator. He dominated him. He really did. He got a wide points win. Like, he's someone I think is going to go all the way. Pierce O'Leary. I think he could become a future world champion for Ireland. I really do. What's your thoughts on Pierce, mate? Do you have much of an
Yeah.
opinion on him, or are you just going to wait and gather more information?
It's trending in the right direction. As you said, the victory wasn't no slap. I mean, he basically impressed. He basically dominated, basically won almost every round. to do that at a, I guess a guy of his opponent's caliber, very stirring, very impressive.
Yeah, 100%. Dara Foley is nobody's mug. A lot of people took Foley to get the snide win, but I knew it weren't gonna happen. But
Right.
if foresight was 2020, we'd all be millionaires, wouldn't we?
Yes.
Exactly. Right, after the Pierce O'Leary, we had Connor Quinn, who lost surprisingly to most people. It was a massive shock. He lost to Connor Kensall. Now, this was for the vacant Commonwealth flyweight title, and most people had Connor Quinn as a lock for this. They really did think this was just an easy fight for him. But I tell you what, Connor Kelsall had a different opinion on this fight, and he came out and he put on a masterclass, mate, and he deserved to win the fight, and he got that flyweight title for the Commonwealth. We've got Neutral's Corner in the chat. Big up Jams and Serhan. Big up Mr. Neutral. See you in a few
What's
minutes,
up,
my
neutral?
brother. Sam Walker has said O'Leary fight was great. Foley incredibly tough. Yeah, as he always is, mate. Another good one out of Joe's gym in Liverpool. Yeah, Joe Gallagher keeps bringing them, mate.
Yeah, he's got a
Mr.
lot of
Ra
good
Hokum
parts.
joined. Big up Ra. Sorry, Serhan. Big
Yeah,
up
so yeah,
Ra Hokum, mate. Thank you for
yeah.
joining.
Shout out to him. Also, back to Sam's comment about the gym. They have some good prospects over there in Liverpool.
Oh, for sure, mate. Joe Gallagher's always bringing it. Neutral Caller said
Yes.
Ra is in the house. Yes, he certainly is. I hope you lads have got your top tens ready. Right, next up. We'll go to the American card now. Teofimo Lopez against Steve Claggett. Now, this, nobody knew about Steve Claggett, but I tell you what, they know about him now, in my opinion. He is one tough SOB.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on that one, Macy? What did you think?
Okay, I got a few things to say about this. I was on Sam's show because I explained this. For all the talking Tio did on that podcast about wanting Terrence Crawford, and that cringe worthy ring walk, which I don't know what the hell he's trying to do, like funky dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as tough as Claggett is, Tio didn't even do much in my opinion. Because if you're gonna make a statement like that, you better go out there and show the world just how good you are. And a good question was raised the other day about whether Tio can punch. Yeah, no one's saying Tio can or can't punch. He's fighting bigger guys who are going to take his punches better. It's going to take more effort for him to get a scintillating knockout. But fought a guy who was tailor made for it, and he basically went the distance, and he won every round.
Yeah, he did. He dominated the fight, but I've got to give props to Claggett, though. Claggett was a warrior in there. He just kept putting it
Yes,
on
I
Tio,
agree.
putting it on him. Now, that's what I respect in boxing. I respect that even though you're getting outclassed, that you're still putting it on the man. I love that, Serhan. I love that. I love the fact that he was willing to keep going. Even in the 12th round, the final round, he was still going hell for leather. Sorry, just got to read a couple of comments, mate. Ra said, Herrera might just be the best at Joe McAnally's gym. Sorry, I said Joe Gallagher. Bloody hell. At Joe McAnally's gym. Thank you, Ra, for clearing that up. Every week I make a mistake, mate. I swear I'm just written down to do this. Right, Sam Walker has said, what do we think about Tio's lack of power at 140, boys?
Well,
I think he struggles. I think if he moves up to 147 and fights the likes of Boots, he's getting himself cleaned up.
let's talk about him fighting Brian Norman. I don't think he beat Brian Norman.
I don't know a lot about Brian Norman, but what I've seen, I think it'd be a tough night's work for Tio, to be quite
Right.
honest.
Well, remember as I said, as he's going up, he's going to fight bigger fighters, and the power he had was knocking out guys at lightweight like he did in Richard Comey once upon a time. He's going to have a hard time because they're naturally bigger guys.
Yeah, they just seem to be able to take his power now quite easily, and that's the worry, isn't it? You know, when they can just
Yes.
literally, like Claggett, just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, and Claggett's been stopped. Well, actually, sorry, no, he'd never been stopped, had he? But he
No.
always comes to fight. He'd lost 7, but he'd never been stopped. But still, you know, Neutral's Corner Boxing has said Claggett coming down from welterweight showed the power transfer from 135 to 140 for Tio. He may not have carried it across.
I agree.
Jabbitt Boxing, afternoon, lads. Afternoon, Mr. Jabs. Thank you for joining
Shout
us
out
from
to-
Wales, my brother.
Yeah, shout out to Jabbitt Boxing, a good account to follow. If you don't follow him on the platforms, follow him. A good one also.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And Neutrals. Everyone in the chat,
Always
mate,
yeah.
they're all brothers. They're all family.
Right.
They're all perfect, sir. I promise you.
Oh, great. Yes.
Right, mate. So we'll move on from that one to the big one. Juan Francisco Estrada against Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Now, this was fight of the year for me, and I don't think it disappointed.
It was billed as a fight of the year going in. It wound up being the fight of the year as it was going on. and it's going to be the fight of the year at when they announce the award ceremony at the end of the year.
Yeah,
This is
it
what we
was
expected.
fantastic.
It was what we wanted. It was what we got. It. I wrote an
Yeah.
article about this on my blogging site, WeLikeSports.com. It's on my
I
X
read
account.
it
You will
earlier,
read it.
Serhan. I read it.
Yeah.
Fantastic writing, by the way. Salute to you, sir.
Thank you. Uh, a pound for pound star is born, and his name is Jesse Bam Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He,
Well,
he
guess
he was
what?
winning the yeah. He was winning
Sorry,
the
mate.
fight.
Sir. Go on.
Yeah, he was winning the fight. And that's what my people out of nowhere. He gets decked by Estrada, who's an all time great in that weight class of the modern times. And them had
Beat
to come up.
Chocolatito twice.
Yeah, yeah. It came up and paralyzed Estrada with a body shot. That was basically all she wrote.
Yeah.
If any questions that anybody had left, he answered all of them, and he puts me in the top. In my opinion, I put him in my top five pound for pound now.
I'll be honest. I've got him at number 6, just outside Bivol. I've got Bivol at
Right.
5. I've got Jesse Bam at 6 now, but definitely deserves to be in the chat. I'm just going to read a couple more comments, mate. Jabbit Boxing said, really appreciate it, lads. Thank you, legends. So are you, Jabs, mate. We appreciate you all at Boxing Media Hub. Håkan Johansson's joined us from Sweden. Big up, Håkan. Good evening, lads. Good evening to yourself, good man.
Shout out to
Mr.
Hulkin.
Styles from Canada has joined us. Big up,
Oh
Jabs and
yes.
Serhan. Big up to you, Mr.
Shout out to
Styles,
Mr.
my
Yeah.
brother.
They got to both of them,
And he
them
said,
also.
big up Neutral and Raw in the comments. God
That's
bless, mate.
right.
We've got a lovely little boxing crowd here.
Get the community together.
That's what we're all about, mate. Mr. Styles in the house, says Mr. Neutral's Corner Boxing. Love that. And it's Mr. Neutral now. It's no longer Neutral's Corner. It's Mr. Neutral. So
Mr.
pay
Neutral.
homage to the big man. He said, big up Harkan. And Bam Rodriguez in top 5 pound for pound. Yeah, 100%. I had him at number, like I said, number 6. But I don't argue with anyone who has him above Bivo. But my top, I'll just quickly say my top 5. I've got Usyk, Inoue, Bud, Canelo, Bivo, and then Bam. That's where I was at in my pound for pound.
Give him another fight or two. We're really gonna talk about it with the Inouye's and Usyks. If he
Yeah,
performs like that, one more fight. Oh yes, we're gonna start to have a real
exactly.
conversation with him.
Neutral said I have him at number 6, Hawkan. So he's answering Hawkan there. And Hawkan saying big up Neutral. So I think he kind of agrees to a sense. Right then, so we'll move on from the fact I've not really said much about it, but it was a fantastic performance, and you pretty much covered it, Serhan. So there's not much for me to say left on that fight. It was a fantastic performance from Bam. It shocked me. I'll be honest. I actually had Estrada to win it on points. I thought he'd roll back
I
the
did too.
years, and I genuinely thought he'd pull out one more big Chocolatito style performance. Although a lot of people said he lost that, I thought he was going to do it again and just get either a decision or just something special because he's that type of man, isn't he, Estrada? But he's
Yeah.
lost. He's going to execute the rematch warrant now, so we might be seeing that again. That's what I'm
Sad
led to
as,
believe.
and I'll say this sadly. I think we're gonna see the same result. Bam is just
Oh,
too good. He's getting started, people. He's getting started.
yeah, I could see it being even earlier, mate. To be honest with you, Serhan, I think he comes out now
I
knowing he
think
can
so
knock him
too.
out and does it probably in 1 or 2 rounds. That's what the worry. I don't want to see Juan Francisco go out like that because he's too good
Correct.
a fighter to be taken like that by someone young and hungry like Jesse. But Jesse's just too good, mate. He's just too good.
I agree.
Yeah. Right. I'm going back to the English card now. We had Niall Berry, who was a hotly contested prospect over here, and he got stopped by Francisco de la Rosa for the European title. It was a huge shock. I don't know if you've seen it, but he lost 97-92 on all cards after being dropped a couple of times, like badly, and then got stopped. So he got destroyed, mate. It was horrible to watch because he was the big prospect. But
Yeah,
I don't suppose you've seen that one. It was on the Danny Quartermain undercard.
I seen the highlights. I got to tell you, it was very stirring for an upset. I mean, getting a Commonwealth title in that continent, big deal.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So we'll move on to Danny Quartermain, who fought against James Chiragi of Romania. And he already had the IBF European title, but he won the WBO European title after being dropped in the first round. This is at super featherweight. Danny Quartermain's a friend of mine. He's a friend of the channel. Absolutely so pleased for the lad. He deserved it so much. It was a stirring performance to get off his bum for the first time, get up and actually do a job the way he did. It was amazing. So pleased
And
for
he
him.
was
That was in Coventry at the Sky Dome. It was absolutely fantastic.
and he got knocked down pretty good too. And for
Yeah,
him to
he
come back
really
and
did, matey. Yeah, he
win
did.
going away,
He looked in
it
trouble,
was very
Serhan. He
impressive.
looked
Yes.
in trouble, but he dealt with the matter and he dealt with it proper. So I'm so pleased for him.
I'll
Right,
check. I'll
so we'll
catch
move
the.
on. Oh,
Real
sorry.
quick
Go
before
on,
you
Serhan. Sorry, mate.
just quickly, I want to catch him when next time you talk to him or whenever you get a chance to. So I think
Yeah, man.
I caught I
We can bring him on whenever you need to, mate. He's a good lad. He's a really good lad. We interviewed him
great.
less than 4 weeks ago. He's a
I'll
really
check
good
it
lad,
out.
is Danny Q.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Good man, good man. Go through the back catalogue. Loads of great fighters on there. We've got O'Shaki Foster. We've got
Oh yeah,
Keyshawn Davies.
I love him, Shaki Foster and Keyshawn Davis.
Both fighting this weekend, mate, which will lead us on nicely
Yes.
later, but I'll leave that for now. So next up, we had Sonny Edwards back in action. First time since losing to Bam, of course. He beat Adrian Corral after a nasty-ass cut on his head, like coming down between his eyes. Oh, he was a mess. He was a mess. She's going to bring Neutral's Corner in. Here's my good mate
Hello,
here,
hello,
Mr. Stevie,
hello.
at Neutral's Corner Boxing, as is now known, Mr. Neutral. How are you, sir?
How are you doing, gentlemen?
I'm good, mate. I'm sure Serhan is too.
That's good to see. Thanks for
Absolutely.
inviting me on your show. It's an
Absolute
absolute pleasure.
pleasure.
And good to meet you, Mr. Han, at last.
Yeah, Serhan, this is
Finally,
Stevie.
after you.
Stevie, this is Serhan.
Good to meet you finally after all this time.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
And
so
yeah, I've brought my top 10 of all time as requested.
yeah,
And
but
yeah,
favourites, not pound for pound or like the best, just your favourites.
absolutely.
Good man,
Yes.
good man,
Absolutely.
good man. Right, before we get to that list, I'm just going to go for one more thing. We've got Canelo versus Belanga. Not announced yet, but it's pretty much confirmed. That's happening in September. What do you think to that fight, Serhan and Neutral? Canelo Belanga, is he still ducking Benavidez like everyone's saying, or is this a good fight? He's fighting a 22 and over 17 knockouts of Puerto Rico. It's a good fight, in my opinion, but people say he's ducking Benavidez. Thoughts?
You want me to go ahead? Go ahead. Neutral. Okay. I've said this before. I'll say it again. He had a chance to get a mandatory activator to have this fight pursued. He went up and challenged all of the corpse of
Kavusik.
Alexander Kavuzik. Yeah, I didn't even know Alexander Kavuzik was fighting until I heard this fight was announced. He had a chance to basically activate that mandatory clause and force a hand to have the fight happen. And when the announcement was made that they want him, he has to make a choice on whether to activate or not. That's when he moved up to fight Alexander Kavuzik. So this and now he's also the mandatory for the whoever wins the better be a fight. This thought of him ducking. If he was serious about that fight, a lot of things would have to happen. The biggest one, he has to lay off the cocaine. He's funked twice for that for beginners. And if he's serious, he would go to the that governing body and say, force the mandatory. We'll take the fight.
Yeah, that's true. Just going to run for a couple of comments, Neutral, before you get stuck in, mate. Mr. Styles said my top five is Inoue, Usyk, Crawford, Rackhouse, and Serrano. Neutrals were saying greetings to Jabs. Mr. Styles has said Bam was more hungrier and wanted to be unified world champion again, so he wanted it more than Estrada. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Håkan Johansson has said my female top five pound for pound is Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Chantel Cameron, obviously, Sanisa Estrada, and Dina Forsland.
I love me some Sinisa Estrada.
Yeah, man, definitely. I like a bit of Dina Forsland as well. She's cute as hell with that little lisp, honestly. Things you could do with
Right.
her. Greetings, Mr. Neutral, says Jabit. Sonny had a great performance, a nasty cut, but a good win to come back with. Yeah, certainly there, Jabs, mate. Rahokam, I'm a certified Canelo hater, but in this instance, I might enjoy seeing him against Bumlanga. Fair
I
play
wouldn't
to you,
call him.
Rah.
I wouldn't call him bum. I wouldn't call him bum Langa. Canelo's gonna win. I wouldn't call him bum Langa.
I wouldn't to his face, but I would behind his back. You know, as long as he can't hear me.
Right.
I'm only fucking with you. Mr.
Right.
Styles, Mr. Neutral in the his owl. I think that means house. Also, Raw, I'm with you on the Canelo train. Yeah. Zinc, if you could have any boxer that lived, who would make the best fight in history? For me, I was going to talk about this later. It'd be Carl Froch against Joe Calzaghe. But I'm sure you two lads have got different opinions on that.
Uh,
Well, yeah, I can go back a lot further and make fantasy fights, being a lot older than the Carl Frochs of this world. Fascinating. You can, these matchup fights, and that is a good one, to be fair to you, Jams. Froch against Calzaghe, two great fighters. But for me, just a personal opinion, I think that's Calzaghe all day long. But going back to what you were saying, Serhan, about Benavidez dropping the ball, and that's exactly what he done. He dropped the fucking ball. Sorry for my language. What he done
That's
there,
okay, man.
you're right, Serhan. He should have stayed at 168 and said to Mr. Suleiman of the WBC, no, thank you. I want my mandatory. Make it happen. He didn't do that. Mr. Suleiman gave him a soft option with a promissory fight against either the winner of Bivol and Beterbiev. But now he finds himself in a bit of a predicament. He has said on multiple times that he has no problem moving from 168 to 175. However, he's closed that door off of Canelo in the sense of he's last resort now, David Benavidez. The Berlanga fight has been made. He's a WBE mandatory. He satisfies his mandatory obligations, as he done with John Ryder last year. So it's not Canelo's fault that David Benavidez moved to 175 and reigniting his ambitions there. But that's just my opinion.
Completely agree with you there, Neutral, mate. I'm just going to run through a couple more comments. We've got Raho come saying, be careful with Dina. She's a Volker, right? I don't actually know what that means, but I'm sure she's dangerous, mate. I know she's dangerous, believe me. I spoke to her. She's a lovely lady, though. Lovely, lovely. She just sounds so cute with that little lisp. You'd think she was so innocent, but you know full well she'd kick your ass given the chance. Jabbit Boxing, top favourite of all time. Jack Dempsey, Manny Pacquiao, Joe Calzaghe, Roy Jones Jr., Muhammad, of course, Ali.
Come on.
A lot of people will probably have the same as you, matey, on that. Zink has got Ray Robinson versus Usyk or Ali versus Dubois. Never thought I'd hear anyone
let me just say, I would hate to be Daniel Dubois on that fight.
I would hate to be Daniel Dubois in his fight coming up against AJ.
I'd hate to be anyone in that fight.
Right.
Jabbit Boxing said Calzaghe Froch would be similar to Calzaghe Lacey. Yeah, Froch would have his moments, but Calzaghe win on points. You've kind of ruined my fantasy fights for later, Jabs, but I agree with you, mate. I completely agree with you.
Carl Froch had some chin on him, and I completely agree with Jabs. And the only way to beat Carl Froch in his prime was to go the distance and outbox him.
Yeah, he's got an iron chin. He's got an iron chin.
Ridiculous.
I just want to respond to what Neutral had to say, so I can. First of all, you talk about him going up to 175 to 168. I'll give someone a bit of a history lesson here. Back in '88, a light heavyweight named Donnie Lalonde chased Sugar Ray Leonard to a fight at 167, and you know what happened there. He later said dropping that 8 pounds was a problem, which leads me to number 2. Twice, David Benavidez had a belt, lost it on the scales. Yeah, people forget that. He lost it on the scales and he couldn't make the 168-pound weight limit.
And now he dropped the ball.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't seem to want it enough for me. Carry on, though, Serhan. Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, and I don't know this, so I saw this morning. I guess he's on Instagram posting photos of self-made shirts of Canelo ducking him, trying to sell this ideology that he has, where as Neutral said, we all know what happened. We all know what really happened.
Exactly.
So, and as far as the Berlanga fight goes, guess what? Canelo's not going to sit on his butt, wait for the Benavidez fight to happen. He's going to be active and stay active. He'll get the win over Berlanga, and it was said he's got a mandatory for fulfill. He's going to go ahead and fulfill it and keep active.
Yeah, and it's against a good opponent. It's not like he's some nobody. He's a 22-0 with 17 knockouts Puerto Rican fighter who's a very tough operator, mate. Yeah, he might be a bit boring to watch, but he's decent.
I think the question is, after Berlanga, I think the Benavidez fight for me is Cinco de Mayo 2025.
Yeah, I agree.
Where Benavidez will have one more fight. Canelo will be booking that date, as we all know that he does.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. I'm just going to run through a couple more comments. Shabbat boxing, you could hit him with a sledgehammer and he would walk through it laughing,
Oh
says
yeah, Carl.
Chaps. Mr. Styles, so maybe Benavidez and Canelo should be at light heavyweight. Yeah, but that wouldn't be fair on Canelo. Remember, this man's fought all the way down at welter, mate. He's already moved up a lot. David Benavidez would be a much bigger man. If anything, Benavidez should come back down to 168 for that fight, in my opinion.
If he can make it.
Yeah, but against Belanga Jr., he's fighting someone who isn't ready. I don't know, mate. I think Belanga wants it. Belanga seems to want the smoke, mate. He's all online giving it Johnny Big Bollocks. SW Fight Hub, big up for joining against Sam Walker. I think Turkey is angling for Canelo versus Crawford, but it should be Canelo versus Benavidez Cinco de Mayo. That's a tongueful, that one, mate. Thank you, Sam. Right, anyway, we'll move on from that for now because we've got to get to our top list.
There is a problem with Turkey and Cinco de Mayo. It's free to the Mexicans, so how they'd work that one out, I really don't know.
Haven't UFC done a little dodgy job as well? Ain't UFC trying to sneak it? Dana White's got his own little jobby on, isn't he? He's put on a Cinco de Mayo show on the same day trying to steal the thunder from Canelo. I'm not a big UFC fan, so I don't know much about it, but I know that he's done something.
It's weird to have it. It's weird to have it on a date that Canelo usually owns. I'll say that much.
Yeah, and Dana White's had the cheek to arrange something of his own, which apparently is rivaling it pretty heavily as well. But I don't know too much about it because I'm not a big UFC fan. I find it boring. They always end up grappling and hugging on the floor, mate. I want to see proper boxing. Bollocks to all that shite. But anyway, that's for another day. Rahokum, mate, Canelo versus Bud. See Bud give Mayweather give him Mayweather PTSD.
Yes.
That'd be difficult, mate, at 168 because Bud would be so small, wouldn't he, at that weight? To be honest. But I get your point. And that's two of my fantasy fights gone now. That's two of my fantasy fights.
I'm responsible for Canelo Crawford. I'll let you go to this comment real quick.
Okay, mate. But Canelo is already a former world champion at light heavyweight, so if Benavidez can't make 168, more sense to have that fight at light heavy. Well, yeah. No. Canelo lost at 175, mate. He lost to
Bevo.
Yeah.
Bevo.
No,
he lost to
Kovalev. He beat Kovalev, the WBA champion at 175.
Oh, of course he did. Yeah, Sergey.
But,
of course he did.
Yeah, but Kovalev was on the wrong side.
Sorry, sir. I don't mean to keep cutting you off, mate. I'm just trying to get through these comments.
Yeah.
Canelo getting cornered at 168. They're coming. Young and powerful. 175 is too big. Bud is his stylistic nightmare. Yeah, I completely agree. That's where I'm at, mate. I completely agree. He beat, let's be honest, a very tired and old Kovalev. Kovalev was already ready to be got at. You know what I mean? He was already looking ready to go.
Kovalev was drained.
Yeah,
you know,
that was if
I'm not incorrect, that was a catch weight at 172 or something like that.
Yeah.
Plus, he'd only fought a couple of months before, and from my recollection, Kovalev was nowhere near his best. So I would say that Canelo took advantage of a very advantageous situation that was handed to him on conditions of that fight. But nonetheless, it was a great feat.
Plus, just weeks before, Kovalev had a very, very tough fight with Anthony Yarde where he struggled to win. And it was like 2 months before, and the turnaround time was so quick, Kovalev never had a chance to fully recover.
Far too quick, and under catch weight as well. It was little wonder that he wasn't at his best that night. But I'm not going to take nothing away from Canelo at 175. The history books will tell us all that he has a belt at 175. However, what was the conditions were, but I think Jams and everybody else in the chat is absolutely correct that I think 168 is Canelo's ceiling, that he can suitably transfer all his skills to 175. It's just a step too far, as Bevel shows you all.
Yeah. Right. To be honest, guys, Rahokum saying Canelo beat Kovalev just 8 weeks after he almost got stopped by Anthony Yarde, which is true.
Yeah, that's what I just told Neutral.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I had to go and sort my dog. My dog was.
Yeah, that's what I said. He took the fight on 2 months. He took the fight on something like 6 weeks' notice.
I'm good, Ra. Thank you. Yeah, 6 or 8 weeks. I think Ra said 8 weeks. Mr. Styles is saying also after having an MMA card on the same date as a Canelo fight, It's more entertaining because at this point we already know what Canelo is going to do, the same predictable thing. I don't know, man. I still enjoy the Canelo nights. I do. Jam's just repelled an attempted burglary. I think my dog might have done, mate. I didn't. Someone
Right.
was in the yard, so my dog went after him. Thank you, Ra. Right.
I just want. Go ahead.
The last thing I wanted to talk about before we go to our top 10, Shakur Stevenson to Matchroom. Do you believe it to be true? I think it could happen. Eddie Hearns came out today and said that he thinks he's got a chance at signing him and he's a future pound-for-pound star. What's your lads' thoughts on this one real quick?
I love
It makes all the
Shakur
sense in the world.
Stevens. I think he's a great boxer. But free agent route to far too dangerous. Re-sign with Top Rank. He's not going to get the big fights. The only logical move for him is Matchroom, and I wish him luck.
It makes all the sense in the world. It makes all the sense in the world for him. I mean, but the thing is, for him to be a free agent, he's going to have a fight Saturday where he opens up a lot of eyes because people are still rigging him for the Santos fight where basically he was just listless. He has to have one of those eye-popping performances where everyone wants to sign him if he wants to be a free agent.
It's a tough fight as well against Artem Harayutian. It's a very tough fight. People are thinking it's a walkover. It ain't no walkover. This guy can fight. I know he's lost his last fight, but the guy can fight, and he will come to Manchester.
Artem Harayutian is just another typical European strong pressure fighter who will chase him round the ring if he has to for 12 rounds.
Definitely.
But the thing is, I don't agree with this rhetoric that Shakur has to knock him out. I don't agree with the rhetoric that, he has to put on such a blistering performance that
it just needs to be exciting, neutral.
That will satisfy fans. I think he just needs to be clinical and show why he's a champion and just simply do what he does best. And don't forget, he will be coming into this fight with a damaged hand. So I'm expecting, at minimum, a clinical performance against Artem, who will prove to be a very tough contender.
Yeah, but I'd still go Shaq wide points win on UD for me. But
unanimous decision. Artem will be lucky to take 2 or 3 rounds, but he will give a good account of him, as Stevie Claggett done against Teofimo Lopez.
Exactly. It'll be a similar type job there. I'm just going to go to Mr. Styles' comment here. He's just said, this is make it or break it performance for Shakur, because if he wants to be considered a pound-for-pound best, he needs more exciting fights. And yeah, I'm with you there, Mr. Styles, mate. He really does need to start getting the crowd behind him.
They'll come.
Yeah, but he's known at the minute. Everyone says Shakur Stevenson, and everyone says boring. That's the first word you hear. As I don't. I think excellent boxer, masterclass boxer. I think he's fantastic. But people don't want to see someone run around the ring and not get hit and just outbox them on the back foot. People got sick of it with Floyd. They get sick of it with these types of fighters. Whereas I actually enjoy it. I think it's putting on a boxing clinic. And I think it's what the boxing game's all about. Hit and don't get hit. Mm-hmm. So I actually enjoy it. But I can understand why a lot of fans don't get behind it. Because it's not knockouts. It's not excitement. It's not engaging in the middle of the ring, going toe for toe. You know what I mean? Just slugging out.
Typically
and that's what
British.
People want to see nowadays. Like, imagine if you
paid Whitaker's turning in his grave.
Go watch him in Newark, New Jersey, and he's just literally running around the ring, just catching him with the pop shots. You'd want your money back, wouldn't you? And that's the problem. But I love Shaq. I absolutely love him. I think he's going to be an absolute pound-for-pound great at one point. I really do, because he's slick.
Yes.
This is rather another stepping stone fight for Shaq, rather much like the David Avanesian fight for Crawford. He falls into that category. Tough contender. Simple as that. But, if you're expecting miracles out of Artem on Saturday night, it's not going to happen.
Nah, Shaq's going to dominate that. There's one other fight that happened at the weekend, guys. I don't know if you've seen it. Lamont Roach beat Fergal McCrory. Did you watch that one? He did.
Yes, sir.
He's someone special. Lamont Roach. I've got a lot of time for him.
I like Lamont Roach. He
always has been. He always has been. It's just a shame the way that his career's turned out for him.
For me, it's a bit like Jalil Major Hackett. They don't get a lot of airtime, do they? I don't know why, because they're both solid fighters. They just don't seem to get the back in.
But that's the depth of the talent pool between super featherweight and welterweight in the United States. It
Yeah.
is massive, that pool. When you got Keyshawn
It is.
Davis, Kelvin
Osaki
Davis,
Foster,
Foster,
Kid
Frankie
Austin,
Martin. There's
Kid
just
Austin,
so
Juju
many now.
Carrington.
And, you know, these standards that are getting set, excuse me, somebody at the door.
Oh, that's all right, mate.
These are the standards that are being set these days by this, you know, these smaller guys that are just dominating world boxing of that in them weight divisions. And yeah, it's very hard to pick somebody out of all that talent and say with 100% conviction, aye, that's the man.
Yeah,
Very hard
that's
to
it.
say.
That's it. Just go to Ra's comment quickly. He says he doesn't have to put on a great performance for his status in the sport, but he has to contractually leverage as he doesn't seem to have great options considering his talent level. Yeah, I'm with you there, Ra, mate. Yeah. For someone so skillful, there's not a clamour of people looking to sign him up. So if Eddie Hearn is really interested, which he seems like he is, I seen an interview earlier today where Eddie Hearn said he's a future pound for pound star. I would love to have talks to him after this fight, and he said he's going to do so. But that could just be clout chasing, see if we can get him on the cheap, you know. But someone might, like Top Rank, might come in with a better offer and keep him. You know, it'd probably suit him better to stay with Top Rank, believe it or not. I know that sounds
I think
stupid,
so. I
but it
think
could
so.
probably suit him better because he's going to get fights in his own
Well,
neck of the woods. Whereas Eddie Hearn's going to bring him to Britain, he's going to move him around America. He's going to take him wherever he can, like get him on the undercard of some bigger fighters. Whereas I
yeah.
think Shaq at this stage needs to start headlining.
I think one would naturally assume Shakur with Bob Arum, that'd be a no-brainer that he'd resign. What's interesting is the fact that he hasn't, and Bob, there's no offer on the table. Now, if Top Rank were as keen about Shakur Stevenson as the public will have you think, then it's a formality. But the fact is, it's not. And why is the question? Why isn't Top Rank investing in Shakur Stevenson in
The only
in
thing
the
I would
manner
think,
that
neutral,
PBC,
not
the
making
manner
enough
that
of that.
PBC Golden Boy and Mushroom do in their boxes? And case in point, Serhan, is Terence Bud Crawford.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, same thing happened with him in his latter years of Top Rank. That's why he left.
So
Same
it
exact
begs the
reasons.
question. It begs the question: what's going on at Top Rank? But mate, if Eddie Hearn comes, flying down on a bungee rope and picks up Shakur Stevenson from under the noses of everybody else in the US market, well, gentlemen, you're looking at another jewel from the
It'd be a
United
fantastic look,
States
wouldn't it?
talent pool. Has
He's
gone
going to
to
be a jewel
Great
for someone.
Britain. He has gone to Great Britain and Matchroom. And it's a sad state of affairs for the US industry because it's just taken money out of the US boxing. Because
Well, we've already took
It
moves,
is.
haven't we?
all that money's just gonna go to Matchroom now.
Yeah. I'm just going to read a
Bad
quick
move.
comment, Serhan. I see Lomachenko versus Stevenson fight happening in 2025, but only if Shakur has an outstanding performance this weekend, says Mr.
If
Styles 619. He's also said this is the same Bob Arum that wants to see a trilogy fight between Taylor and Castro. Yeah, I've seen this earlier.
Loma Stevenson happens, if Loma is fortunate enough to beat Tank, and that's another topic.
Yeah, well, we know that ain't
I
going to
think
happen, let's be truthful.
Loma would only fight Stevenson if Loma lost against Tank and Tank's they want Stevenson to follow in Tank's footsteps in that sense, one fight behind. So
Yeah, Rahokam
because
said, sorry, neutral. Rahokam
that's
just said
okay.
going to PBC is a very big risk. I said park him to keep him away from Tank while they put on a pretense. That's being built up. Eddie expects someone to accept their market value. Top Rank might be the way to go. And then Mr. Styles has said Lomachenko smokes Tank Davies. Wow, that's a big call there, Mr. Styles.
It's a big
Anyway,
shout.
we'll have to leave
4
that
years
one
ago,
there,
I
lads.
said
'Cause we've got to
4
get
years
to
ago,
our...
I'd say he would. 4 years ago, I'd say
Yeah?
he would.
Oh,
4
fair
years
play,
ago, but
fair
not now.
play.
Yeah. But
Fair play. Right, let's get to our top 10 then, because we've only got 20 minutes left, lads, already. This is flew by. I told you bringing neutral in and just make us chat some boxing, mate. You know what I mean? Bringing in
right.
the master knowledge of boxing, Mr. Neutral's Corner, or just Mr. Neutral, as he's now known on X. Make sure you follow him up. Right,
Thank
so we're
you.
going to go. I'll say my 10, then Serhan say your 10, then Neutral say your 10. And remember, guys, so don't jump on our backs. This is just who we like. Not pound for pound, not who's the best. It's just who we like. For me, number 10 is David Hay. I enjoyed his fights. When he beat Valuev up at heavyweight, I was so excited. When he nearly knocked out the Giant, nearly cut him down. This was my era. I was still a young man. I was going to the fights. It was fantastic. He beat Derek Chisora. I enjoyed that. He beat Audley Harrison, Enzo Mack, John Ruiz. You know, I really got behind him and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Anyway, Serhan, number 10 for you, sir.
Going way back here, Mike McCallum. Not one of the fanciest names in the world, but one of those grind fighters, master of body punch. If you want to see a clinic on how to body punch, watch this guy. One of the fighters, the top guys didn't want to fight him because he was viewed as a high risk, low reward fighter.
Yeah.
Body punching anyone who's a body puncher like him, they're gonna avoid. He was basically like what Gennady Golovkin was in body punching, and we saw how top fighters avoided Gennady Golovkin for the longest time. Mike McCallum was like the Triple G of his era.
Yeah. Neutral, what's your number 10, sir?
My number 10 is because I'm more historically inclined to give my opinions, is Rocky Marciano, 49-0. I
Wow,
love
what a
watching
fighter.
Rocky Marciano fight because of the sheer tenacity, never give up attitude. No one can beat me. Goes down, gets back up, knocks you out. He fought the best, and as well heralded as probably pound for pound should have been in the top list by people like Archie Moore, Jersey Joe Walcott, etc. But it's the humility of the man. There was a story of Carmine Vingo that challenged Rocky for the World Heavyweight Championship in 1951. And Rocky hospitalized him, and it was 50-50 whether he's going to make it through the night. And Rocky Marciano spent the night at the man's bedside. And that's the kind of man that I follow. And Rocky Marciano, number 10.
Bless you. Thank you,
Very.
Neutral. Sorry, sir. Hang on 1 second, mate. Ross said he's got his. Sorry, lads. Just carry on chatting a sec. I've got.
I was gonna say the stories of Rocky Marciano's humility have been documented time after time after time. I mean, yeah, the era he doesn't get much credit because the era sort of was cut in the middle. I mean, his biggest win was a badly fated Joe Louis, who shouldn't have even been in the ring to begin with. But that's not Rocky Marciano's fault. He just fought the guys he fought. The one
That's
thing I
it.
did not know, one thing I did not know until I read this many years back. After that fight, Rocky Marciano went to Joe Louis and apologized because he looked up to Joe Louis when Joe Louis was a king of the crop from 37 to 49 when he had the 12-year reign as champion and had 25 successful title defenses. That was the man at the time.
And that's why he's in my top 10.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My fucking dog was in the backyard going mad at someone again. Bloody hell. Ra's saying most of it was from his youth. Bless you, Ra. SW Fight Hub. Hay was incredible to watch in his prime. Yeah, I really enjoyed him, mate. So we'll move on to number 9. For me, it's Chris Eubank Sr. Like, I didn't get to watch too much of him live, but when I did watch him, it was always exciting. The way he came to the ring, the way he conducted himself. He was just an exciting fighter, wasn't he? He had that pompous arrogance that just made you want to watch him. Sometimes I wanted to watch him get knocked out, don't get me wrong, and he did many a time. Kawasaki didn't stop him, but beat him. Ben Collins twice, Carl the Cat Thompson, So that was nice to see, but he's still one of my favourite fighters just for getting me engaged in the sport back in the early 90s. So that's my number 9. Serhan, who's your number 9, pal?
The real deal, Evander Holyfield.
Oh, good
Simply
call.
put, simply put, duck no one, fought everyone at his peak, beat everyone at his peak, answered all doubts when he beat Mike Tyson. That great trilogy with Riddick Bowe. he had his revenge against Michael Moore emphatically, where he basically knocked him down in every round from the third round on. You know, and when he did a cruiserweight, before Alexander Usyk cleaned it out,
I
the
was just going
Evander
to say
Holyfield
that.
was far and away before Usyk came along. Holyfield was the poster child of how successful that cruiserweight division was. Of course, he was denied a gold medal in one of the most bizarre circumstances in the '84 Olympics. But still, he always had a chip on his shoulder, and when he went out there, you knew you got an honest effort out of him, and you knew you wanted to tune in to watch him fight.
Yeah, 100%, matey, 100%. And like you said, he's done it at cruiser and heavy. He's one of the rare breed to do that with Usyk. So, neutral, who's your number 9, sir?
Charles Sonny Liston.
Oh, wow. You're going
Yes.
for
Absolute
the bangers, you are,
animal.
bro. You're going for the big boys.
Absolute animal of a boxer. Much revered and feared by everyone
Yes.
that he ever got in the ring against. A remarkable story before his professional days. And there should be a movie about this man. You know, he
There's a
fought
docu-
with he fought
That's
with
right.
one lung. Was it one lung or one kidney, something like that?
Yeah, one kidney.
Throughout his professional career after being shot. It's just remarkable. And any man who gets the president of the United States to ring up his rival who's meant to be getting in the ring with him on this case, in this occasion, was one Floyd Patterson. And any man who can get a president ringing up Floyd Patterson and say, don't take the fight with Sonny Liston, please, is in my top 10.
Fair
There's a
play to you,
documentary.
matey.
There's a Sonny Liston documentary on the Showtime Paramount app. If you can get it, watch it.
Will do,
Well
matey.
done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Neutral just summed up him in a nutshell. That documentary pretty much backs up what he said.
Oh, fair play, mate. I'll give it a watch. I have seen a load of his fights. I do enjoy Sonny Liston's fights. Mr. Styles 619 has said my top 10 are Floyd Mayweather Jr., Joe Calzaghe, Muhammad Ali, Ruben Hurricane Carter, Cecilia Brackhouse, Amanda Serrano, Gennady Golovkin, Lomachenko, Savannah Marshall, Heather Hardy. Fair play to you, sir. And then Javit Boxing said breaking news: Canelo Alvarez versus Chris Eubank Jr. in negotiations via Michael Benson. That can't be true. Jabs, I hope you're winding us up there, fella. I hope you're winding us up. Honestly, Eubank Jr. would get absolutely fucking destroyed. He ain't
One quick
even
thing,
on that level. He's not even close to that level. That would be an absolute masterclass beatdown. Kell Brook
one quick,
and Billy Joe Saunders got their eye sockets broken. He'll get every part of his body broken. The daft git. Bloody hell.
one super quick thing
Anyway,
before
we're
we go
going
to
to
number
move
eight.
on, lads. We've only got 12 minutes left, and we've
Okay.
got to get through
Yeah.
8 more. So number 8 for me is Sweet Katie Taylor. Best female boxer of all time, in my opinion. Like, obviously, shout-outs to Terry Harper and many others. Amanda Serrano, the Groats, obviously a great fighters. But for me, like my favourites, Katie Taylor, Ireland, absolutely sweet girl, always talks, very humble. Like, one of my favourite fighters. So she's number 8 for me. She beat Jonas, Delphine Persoon twice. You know, just an absolute warrior. So she's my number 8. Serhan, number 8 for you, sir.
Michael Carbajal. If you guys know about the flyweights, Michael Carbajal put the flyweight division on the map here in the States. He's the shortest fighter for his at that time. He was the shortest fighter to gross more than $1.5 million in a fight in his first fight with Chiquita Gonzalez. Just like Evander Holyfield, another guy who didn't duck anyone. His trilogy with Gonzalez was very, very breathtaking, especially that first fight where he came up from being decked twice to score an eighth round knockout. And he didn't hit the top pound for pound stature because Chavez and Whitaker were there. But very, very exciting for a guy south that weight class. He put that division on the map for the casual fan who didn't know much about the division. He put it on the map and made a lot of money for a guy south of the featherweight division. We're talking about the lightest fighter who does $1.5 million in a fight. I don't think that's been eclipsed.
Was this in the late 80s?
Early 90s.
Early 90s. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Styles has said, haha, it's too early for an April Fool's joke, Jabbit. Canelo won't last against Chris Eubank Jr. Well, we all know that. Raul Hokum said, mine, chronologically, I can't even say the word, chronologically, there we
Chronological.
go. Ali, Leonard, Hearns, Tyson, Tony, Holyfield, Felix, Trinidad. Oh, I forgot him off mine. Bloody hell. Hamed, Prince Nassim, I didn't put him in mine just because I didn't like his attitude. Pacquiao Inoue. Inoue being in there is a big call, Raw. Fair play to you, sir. And then Mr. Styles. Honourable mentions for Chantel Cameron, Katie Taylor, Krista Shields, Michaela Mayer, Marvellous Marvin Hagler. Right then, so I move on to number 7. I'm going for the Dark Destroyer, Nigel Benn. I got the privilege of watching him fight back in the early 90s. My dad took me. I was asleep. I must have been 9 years old, and he dragged me off. I'm probably 10 years old, I don't know, but I was asleep anyway, and he dragged me off to a fight, and I slept through most of it and never even got to enjoy it. But I ended up watching all his fights afterwards and really enjoyed him. He had some great fights. He beat Chris Eubank Jr. Obviously, the Gerald McClellan fight is not one to talk about because of what happened afterwards. But still a great performance against a great American fighter, because he was something special, mate, was Gerald McClellan.
Yes.
But he lost to Steve Collins as well, which broke my heart. I love Steve Collins, but he didn't make my top 10 either because he beat 2 of my favourites. So I buggered him out of the list. But yeah, just a fantastic fighter. Always entertainment, always there for a fight. Not like his son, not a drugs cheat, not an arsehole. So Nigel Benn for me was number 7. Serhan, number 7 for you, sir.
The Hitman Thomas Hearns.
Wow. Just got me signed
That right
poster the
hand.
other day.
Yeah, they showed me.
Legend. But a bit before my time, to be truthful.
Right. Duck no one. That right hand of his, he put it on your chin. You're going 9-9. Ask Roberto Duran. He's still feeling that punch 4.5 decades later. The skill set
Still
was none
feeling it
other.
now.
Yeah, Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart did the job with this guy. Brought him in out of nowhere. Even though he lost to Ray Leonard in '81, that first fight was a perfect give or take shutout where both fighters gave it their all, and for a time you could argue it was up there among the considered the greatest fights ever. We talked about the loss, of course, the knockout of Duran in '84. He had another knockout against Pepino Cuevas, similar, which was before Duran. I request you guys watch it because he spun. He hit him so hard, he actually spun and then went down like he melted. I mean, that's how hard that was. And of course, he came back in '91 when he was basically written off for a sterling victory over Virgil Hill. And of course, part of the greatest round ever, round 1 on April 15th, 1985, when he fought Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I'm sure everyone knows about that round. He and Hagler, part of history. Thomas Hearns was the man at that time.
100%. Mr. Neutral, number 7 for you, sir.
It was Roberto Duran. Just to
Hands of
compliment
stone.
what Serhan was saying, I loved watching the Panamanian powerhouse, box. Every fight he gave it his all. The one fight that he did let me down was obviously Sugar Ray Leonard 2, when he quit the ring. I was
that,
devastated.
man, a guy like that.
I was devastated watching that. But that he is in my top 10. Enjoyable to watch.
Bless you.
Oh, he
I'm just
was.
going to go
Yes,
for a couple
yes,
of
yes.
comments, mate. Ross saying mine's based on enjoying watching them. Yeah, that's what we're here for, mate. That's what we're talking about, like favourites to watch or to go to. Yeah, so you got the right idea, Ra, mate. Not the best boxers, just who we enjoyed the most. Mr. Styles is saying with me, Ra. And then he's saying, also, you've got to watch the movie they made about Hurricane Carter, starring Denzel Washington as Hurricane Carter.
Excellent movie.
I've not
Excellent
seen
movie.
it. I'll have to give that a watch. I've
Must
genuinely
watch.
not seen that. And I normally watch, I go on like Netflix or on wherever and put in boxing movies and watch as many as I can. I've watched
Must
Hands
watch.
of Stone. That's a classic. Who did
It
I watch
was.
the other day? Vinny Paz movie. Oh, Vinny Paz.
Oh,
Mate,
yes,
what a legend
Paz.
he was. What a
Yes.
legend he was. Well, still is. He still is. He follows me on X. Absolute legend. We've had him on Boxing Media Hub, by the way. So if you'd like to see him speak, check out the back catalogue.
I would
Right,
love
let's
to
get
have
through
had a
these quickly
drink
then,
with
guys.
Ricardo Mayorga.
Yeah, man. Warrior. We've only
Right.
got 6 minutes left, so we're going to have to fly through these pretty quick, lads, okay?
Let's do it.
Number 6 on mine is Lennox Lewis. Might be a bit low for some, but he was like, as I was a kid, I was getting to 13, 14 when boxing really became my life. He was already spiraling down a bit, he wasn't... Well, he was still just as good, let's be truthful, but I had other people I was watching. So Lennox Lewis for me, when he beat Hasim Rahman in the rematch, made one of the greatest nights I can remember watching boxing. After getting sparked like he did, and then to go and beat Hasim Rahman afterwards, it was beautiful. And he obviously beat Vitali, but because of that nasty-ass cut, he probably, I don't know whether he'd have beat the robot if it weren't for that, but we'll never know now. So that's my number 7. So, number 6. So your number 6, Serhan.
Yours, Lennox Lewis.
Mine was Lennox
Exactly.
Lewis, yeah. Number
Yeah.
6.
Same as mine. I don't know. The thing is, people in America didn't like the guy because he was foreign,
And he
you
was
know,
Canadian.
and Canadian too. One fight that is not talked about enough over their season when he beat Gary Mason for the Commonwealth title. It took him to that next level because we're not talking about him fighting the top guys in the states of globally without that fight. His major performance in '92 when he knocked out Razor Ruddock globally, the world was put on notice. Riddick Bowe ducked him when he threw the belt in the garbage. Mike Tyson ducked him twice in '96. Once by paying him $4 million. Second time for ducking the belt,
Yeah.
making the belt. Evander
He
Holyfield
also
fought him with
beat
too late.
Holyfield, didn't he? And
Yeah,
Tua,
yeah.
David Tua.
He
So
was
some
really
good
2-0.
wins.
He was really 2-0 against Holyfield, despite the official draw. We know what happened in Madison Square Garden. I was there that night. He beat Grant. He beat Tua. Of course, the comeback against Rockman and finish off Mike Tyson. What can you say? Beat them all, clean them all out. That's the man.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Thank you, Serhan. Neutral's Corner. Well, Mr. Neutral, as we're now known, sir. What's your number 6?
Lennox Lewis. Lennox
Look at
Lewis
that. We
to
all got
take
Lennox
time.
Lewis at
Unanimous,
6.
unanimous decision.
Great boxing
He was
minds
in my
alive.
top 10 anyway. He was in my top 10, enjoyable to
Same.
watch. So I might as well throw him in there.
When he knocked
Okay,
out Rockman
okay.
the second time, that was it.
Well, at number 5
Who?
for me, this might shock you. I've got Prime Mike Tyson. Like, most people have him as their number 1, 2, or 3, but I've got him at number 5. Like, in his prime. Like, when he beat Bruno twice. Michael Spinks, Tony Chubbs, Carl Williams, Larry Holmes, Tony Tucker, them types of fights. The reason I've got this affinity with Mike Tyson is my old man, when he used to come back from the army, used to wake me up to listen on the radio. This was before we even had like Sky TV or like that. So we're talking like 88, 89. I must have been 6, 7 years old. And he used to come back and it was the only time he'd ever fucking talked to me. Me and my dad have never had a conversation other than wake me up, Mike Tyson's on the radio. And he'd bring me downstairs, he'd make me some popcorn and we'd sit there and listen to it on the radio. And it just became like a special memory for me. And that's where my real love of
Happy
boxing came
days.
from.
Happy
You know what I mean?
days.
That's where my real love of boxing came from. So that's why Mike Tyson's in my top 5. But other than that, I didn't like the guy. He was a rapist. He was a bit of a wrong un. You know what I mean? That's the only reason he's in my
Woefully
top 5.
overhyped. Uh, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, my number 5.
Classic.
Same
Absolute
here.
classic.
Same here. Marvelous.
Yeah. Simple.
I first watched him 1980 against Alan Minter, who was the
Yes.
WBC and in fact unified champion. And the way
Beat
he
the brakes off.
dismantled,
Yeah, beat
the
the
way he
brakes off of Minter
dismantled
too.
Minter.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah, man,
dismantling.
Minter opened his mouth and Hagler made him pay.
I tell you
All
what, we
right.
need to do
All
a
right.
show of 80s legendary boxers with you two on. I'm going to make that happen
Let's
on
do
Boxing
that.
Media Hub. If you guys are up for
Let's do
that,
it.
we're going to do
I'm
the
in.
80s, the top 10 best fights of the 80s, and I want you two to
I
do it
don't
for me.
think I
That's
can
all
live
right.
with Serhan, and I was there.
Right.
Right, let's move on then, lads, because we're running out of
He
time.
knows far too much. He knows far more than me. Can tell you. He's even got dates and times.
Neutral,
Right.
Mr. Neutral. Nobody knows more than you. But Joel's got an
Nah,
interview in
that's a
30 minutes, so
Nobody
we've
I
does.
really got to
don't.
wrap
I
this up
don't
now,
accept
lads.
that.
Right, so number
Right.
4 for me was Manny Pacquiao. Obviously, the Filipino was an absolute legend, man. He's beat the likes of Adrian Broner, Keith Thurman, Jesse Vargas, Tim Bradley, Juan Manuel Marquez a couple of times, Miguel Cotto, Ricky Hatton, Oscar De La Hoya, Eric Morales. Need I say more? Manny Pacman Pacquiao has to be in your top 5, surely. Serhan.
Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard.
Leonard's yours at 5. Yeah, well, 4, sorry. That's understandable.
Yeah, therefore.
I
Sugar
can't
Ray
believe
Leonard.
he's. Let me go first next time because that's what I was going to say.
Good man.
Serhan
So
beat
you
me
both
to
got
yet
Leonard at
again.
4.
Both
I mean,
got
what can you say about
Leonard
the
at
guy?
4.
What can you
I
say about the
mean,
guy?
what can you
Benitez,
say?
Leonard. Yeah. Benitez,
The
Hearns,
list goes
Duran,
on.
Hagler did it.
There you
Beat
go.
them all.
Mr. Styles just said R.I.P. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, one of the all-time greats. That along with the movie Hurricane Car on my top 2. One of my favourites is Ra Hokum. Yeah, we love him too, mate. He's on about Cinderella Man. It's a hell of a movie. I've seen that, actually. Great film. Right, let's move on to number 3 then. For me, it's Joe Calzaghe. Absolute warrior. Never lost. 46-0-0 at retirement. Not many get to do that. Only Mayweather betters it. Well, other than Rocky Marciano, of course. But that was a little bit earlier for me. He beat the likes of Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins, Mikel Kessler, Juan Arango, Luis Calazzo. Even back in the day, like Eamon McGee, tough British fights, Ben Taki. They were the fights I remember, you know, cracking fights. Absolute warrior, never lost. Disappointed I didn't get to see the Froch fight, but it is what it is. He's my number 3. Serhan, number 3 for you, sir.
Pernell Whitaker.
Oh,
We
sweet
talk
pea.
about the art of the sweet science, hit not get hit. He was the master of his time. 90 from 93 to 97 was the best fighter in the world. The first fighter to go undisputed in the 3-belt era. Yeah, he said master technician. He made everyone look. I mean, he made Julio Cesar Chavez look novice. That's what you need to know about him.
I've watched a lot of his fights since, but I never watched him at the time. I never even heard of him when I was young, to be honest with you. I only found out about him when I got really deep into boxing around the late 90s. So I didn't get to watch his journey, you get what I mean? So that's why he's
Right.
not on my list. But yeah, Sweet Pea was something special. Mr. Neutral's Corner, number 3 for you, sir.
The drunken master that is known as Emmanuel Augustus Button. He was the most entertaining boxer, journeyman, whatever you want to call him.
I must be honest, I don't even know who this is. Say his name again.
Emmanuel Augustus Button, Burton.
Oh, okay.
He went by Emmanuel Augustus or Emmanuel Burton. Floyd Mayweather calls him the toughest opponent he ever faced.
You took the words out of my mouth.
He
was the most entertaining fighter I ever watched. He had me laughing, crying, and in one round. This guy was amazing.
That's what
and
you want
it's
in
a
a
shame
fighter,
because
someone who entertains.
This guy would take a fight on a week's notice. He never ducked anybody, like Serhan has said about Floyd. Holyfield. He never ducked anybody. He took the Floyd Mayweather fight, as Serhan quite rightly says, give Floyd Mayweather the toughest fight of his life. Check it out on YouTube. It's an absolute masterpiece.
I'd still go
right?
Marcus Maidana.
And he wasn't showboating in that fight. He was not showboating. So,
you mean
if anybody's online now and they're watching this, go and check out Emmanuel Augustus Button, the Drunken Master. He is an absolute entertainer, and he may not be a successful boxer, but I'll tell you what, you'll never see another boxer like him again. Ben Whitaker tries
right, we're
and
over
fails.
by 2 minutes, lads, so we best get to our 1 and 2s. Number 2 for me, of course, is Ricky the Hitman Hatton. Absolute legend, beat Costa Zoo, Paula Malignaggi, Juan Arango, Luis Calazzo. Oh, we've done that one. Are we on number 1 now?
No, we're number 2 still. Number 2. Oh, my number 2, Roberto Duran.
Roberto Duran, yeah. Mine's
my number 2.
Anderson.
My number 2 is Chavez.
I think I read out the wrong one in number 3. I gave the wrong one out. I was supposed to say Joe Kawasaki beat Roy Jones Jr., Hopkins, Kessler, Saki Obika, and all
now we're on 1.
I think I jumped the gun, mate. I think I jumped the gun because I was rushing. But it's Ricky Hatton anyway.
Now we're on our final.
Right, let's go to number 1 then. Mine's Carl Froch, the Cobra. He's my favourite. I was there when he beat Lucian Bute in Nottingham in 2012. It still makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. He's an absolute fucking warrior. When he beat Jermaine Taylor in that last couple of minutes in America, when he was doomed to lose, he was losing that fight. That just shows the level of man. Same against George Groves. He was getting battered. He turned around and sparked the guy, and then he rematched him and clowned him up, made his leg buckle under him. That's my guy right there. He's also beat the likes of Arthur Abraham, Andre Durrell, Jean Pascal, Tony Dodson, Robin Reed, Brian McGee, Charles Adamu, Mikel Kessler. Just an absolute warrior, mate. You know, Carl Froch is the man. People don't like him because of his arrogance, but that arrogance is what made him good. For me, Froch is my favourite of all time growing up.
Julio Cesar Chavez is my number 1.
I can understand why, but I never got to watch him. I never got to go and watch him, unfortunately.
For his time, he set records that probably nobody touched. Longest undefeated streak to start a career, which was 87-0. Most title fights, 34. This is my 37. Most title wins, 31. 26 consecutive wins in title fights, surpassed Joe Louis. And when you see this, one of the real grit and grind type fighters, didn't why can't one punch just gradually wore you down physically and mentally until he put you away? For his time, he was head and shoulders above everybody else. From
Thank
87 to
you.
93, the number one fighter in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you, mate. Yeah, a little bit before my time. That's probably why I'm not going the same. Håkan Johansson from Sweden has said my number 2 is Sugar Ray Leonard. His number 1 is Marvelous Marvin Hagler. That's a fair shout. AFC always. Kawasaki better than Froch. Yeah, he is, mate. But this is obviously you've not been with us since the beginning. AFC always. This is
It's
not
what who we like.
who's the better fighter. This is our favourite fighters growing up, like who we grew up and enjoyed watching. It's literally like our personal favourites. It's not who's best pound for pound list to vote like that. Otherwise, my top 10 would be completely different. You know, this is literally just who I enjoyed watching the most. You got to remember, Cole Frotz lives near me. I used to go to all his fights. I was there that night against Lucian Pute. It's just he had a massive following. Ricky Hatton the same. I used to go to Manchester. I watched his last fight in 2022. The only time I got my wife to go to a boxing match. Me and her were there when Jonas won a world title. Ricky Hatton fought Morales in an exhibition. We were there for that in November 2022. You know, they're the only type of guys that really excited me. You know. So
Uh,
that was why. That was why.
all right, Neutral, you're the last one. You're number
Pretty
one.
boy Floyd Mayweather is my number one. Particularly enjoyed his career in the mid to late 90s. He was a knockout merchant, and as soon as he moved up in weight, he started having to rely on his skills rather than his knockout power.
So
Hence,
you preferred Pretty Boy Floyd rather than Money May?
oh, by a long way. He was
The,
he was
100%.
hungry.
the,
He was
the,
hungry. His
he had a
ambition
chip on his
levels were
shoulder.
through the roof. A chip on his shoulder. He hated the world. He hated everybody, and he showed it in the ring. As
Yeah.
soon as the success and the more, I would say, challenging fights were presented to him at higher weights, he turned into TMT. So, but Pretty Boy Floyd between 1993 and 90, I would say 2004, he was a
Yeah.
proper animal, and I
Right,
love
Yeah,
watching
from
him.
well, thank you so much. Sorry to cut it short, but we're already 8 minutes over, and Joel's got an interview in 20 minutes, so I'm going to have to cut this now. So thank you so much for joining us, Neutral. God bless you, mate. You're an absolute star. And follow him. He's Mr. Neutral now on X. He's on Instagram and Facebook too, but you have to find him on there because that's not my job. God bless Mr. Neutral. And Serhan Dayi, my co-host on this show, will be back next. Are we doing it Wednesday next week, sir?
perfect.
Yep, I shall see you then. Right, God bless to everyone. Thank you for joining Boxing Media Hub's Boxing Hour episode 4. We love y'all. Hit that like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next week for the same type of boxing chatter. God bless one and all.